Hello, everyone. It's a beautiful day. It's a wonderful Tuesday. Well, welcome to another day of the November to remember. Okay, today is the fourth day. We've had series of presentations, series of events, and it has been awesome. It's been wonderful. Okay, we had series of lectures. So I'd like to share my screen so that just a minute there. So okay, here we go. So the first day we had Chidema Maduka, where she talked about a CV. She's a talent management leader and career management expert. Okay, she talked about CV. You know, most of us are used to the normal conventional way of writing CV, but she went deep into it and let us know that there's more to it. Okay, so the second day presentation, the host was handled by Christopher Abamuche, who is the vice president of Bank of America, and he talked about business creativity and innovation. He talked a lot, talked about being able to motivate yourself, how we need to be innovative and creative. You know, talked about business and looking for solution to problem to find or create the solution. You know, when you create solution for people, people tend to, you know, go into what you've created. So he went deep and we learned a lot. Okay. So yesterday, which was the third presentation of the event, was our host was Jude Ower, where she talked about gaming. Jude Ower is the founder of PlayMob and the co-founder of Playing for the African Alliance. Okay, she talked about gaming and how gaming relates to how we're able to bridge the gap between gaming and real life situations. So there's so many people who could not believe that it's possible for one to relate gaming to real life situations. You know, they were all talking about it after the lecture, and it was really, really a wonderful a lecture that was yesterday. So let me introduce myself. My name is Okafor Austin, and today being the fourth day of November to remember, I'll be co-hosting this event with Olatunji Timothy. So before we introduce our host for today, I would like my co-host to take over from myself. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Austin, for that beautiful exquisite brief of what we've been having on our November to Remember series of talk. As you said, as Austin has said, today is the fourth day of November to remember. We've been able to talk about CVs, talk about creativity and innovation, talk about gaming and how we can relate real life issues to gaming. But today it's going to be different, definitely. It's just a whole lot of power-packed event for the November to Remember series of talk. So before we continue and introduce our host, we would like Dr. Celestine Iwendi to give an opening remark, an opening speech before we begin today. Thank you.
Okay, I was trying to see if the head of school is already here. She's not here yet. But on that note, just to welcome every one of you to November to Remember. It's going to be awesome. We've had 3 days. We're having more. So just tune in. And if one way or the other, invite your friends around or your schoolmates. I see some of the departments are already logging on. And you can join, ask your questions, and then be ready to learn. Thank you very much. Over to the moderators.
All right, so thank you for that brief introduction, sir. And so before we move into today's program, so on today's program, day 4, we have Mr. Michael Rada, who will be talking to us on introduction to Industry 5.0. So I'd like to read Mr. Michael Rada's brief biography. So Mr. Rada, born on December 24th, 1971, is an experienced business professional equipped with 30 years plus of rich business experience. He started his business career as a steel factory worker in 1990. Back in 2013, he invented and developed the systematic waste prevention methodology called industrial upcycling, and started to implement it in the real business and industrial environment of Czech Republic, Europe. 2 years later, industrial upcycling becomes the groundstone of Industry 5.0, which was later launched on December 1st, 2015. In 2020 was Industry 5.0, named the world leading industrial trend. To this effect, join us welcoming Mr. Michael Rada as he discusses Introduction to Industry 5.0.
Thank you very much for the invitation. And it's an honor to be with you, with everyone. And thank you for the great introduction. You know, usually the people are used to see here academicians, celebrities, politicians maybe. And I was just starting as a steel factory worker, as you name it. And today I spend more time in a boiler suit than in the offices of the general managers who pay me, but I spend more time with the workers on site. And let me share the presentation and the insight of Industry 5.0, and I hope you will have the possibility to ask a lot of questions, because I love questions, to be honest. And I hope you will be the ones who ask me many of those. So let me start. I close this. If anything wrong with the presentation, the animations are not moving or so please let me know. So welcome to the next Industry 5.0 Global Perspective keynote. As it was said, my name is Mike Rada. I am human, and that's the only title on my business card. And I'm the founder of Industry 5.0. And before I start, let me ask you a few questions. The first one is who we are, because we have many titles. We are managers, we are presidents, chairmen, students, we are producers, teachers, fathers and mothers. During our life, we have collected many titles. But there is one issue. We are forgetting one, the most important, which is that we are human beings. Living ones, not like this man on County Art of Pilsen Brewery. And if we do realize who we really are, let me ask you the second question. Where do we live? Because we live in beautiful cities, like Roubaix in France, like Pilsen, this is the building from which I'm speaking to you, like Paris, like Brussels. We are living in beautiful cities which we fill with trash. We work in factories and businesses which produce in one day more trash than a city in a month. We produce products which frequently, before become the end product with the user, become trash. And we store them in big metal houses filled with air, calling for more big metal houses to be built to store our trash inside. And at the end of our shift, we are leaving next to the output of our production. And we arrive home where we realize that something what was called food before is called bio-waste today. And we look at the red sky above our heads, asking ourselves, where do we live? My keynote will answer this question to you. So what is the Industry 5.0 origin? Industry 5.0 is the first industrial evolution ever led by man, by human. It's built on principles of systematic waste prevention, and it recognized 5 types of waste which can be prevented. Physical waste, social waste, urban waste, process waste, And the last one, which we added in September 2022, is the wasting of time, which needs to have separate category. Industry 5.0 was launched on December 1st, 2015. So in less than 1 month, we celebrate 7 years of existence. But the tools has been applied 2 years longer, since 2013 already, to be sure that it will work, and it does. Between 2013 and 2021, we have prevented more than 1 million metric tons of products to become waste. In connection to the 5.0, you can hear another term, Society 5.0. This term was introduced in 2016 in Japan as an answer to Industry 4.0 general. It means that the computers and digitalized life will penetrate more the private life, not in a way in a factories only, but in a way that it will support the people who are at home with digitalization. From old computer, we will have better ones. Our food will be delivered by drones. Our health will be monitored by our smartphones and smart devices. And instead of carrying heavy cargo, the robots will help. We will store our memories in cloud. We will work and have processing of the big data which we are collecting for decades already. And the result, unfortunately, the same, because Society 5.0 is not the right solution. It's a support, but it's just another form of Industry 4.0. You can hear it as well, many people speak about Industry 5.0 as a fifth industrial revolution led by machines, which deliver more technology, including artificial intelligence. But unfortunately, this is fake, and fake which is being spread by organizations which you will never expect to, like European Commission. And many companies try to use the term just to boost up their own sales. But that's not Industry 5.0. This is why I prepared this simple one-side manual for everyone who would like to protect himself or herself against the fake. Because there is only one Industry 5.0, and I am happy that part of the audience is or are Industry 5.0 ambassadors as well. There are many global predictions delivered. Some of them says that the permanent growth should be achieved through improvements of the mass production. The others say that digitalization and virtualization aspects of our life will be omnipresent, and artificial intelligence generally take over our thinking and decision-making process. It should be the working hours and days should be cut, but at the same time, it should be granted income for everyone, no depending if you are working or not. The test has been running for several years in several countries. And the continuous growth will generate continuous increase of the waste volumes as predicted by the World Bank, for example. And there will be needed increasing investment because somebody should finance this growth and this project. And the increased volume of financial transactions will be related to carbon emission trading as well. So what is the impact of the investment? Generally, there are many fails in impact investment related to sustainability. One of those is in news today again. It's the ocean cleanup project, which already consumed not 75, but almost $1 million US. It was started at the same time in 2013 as I started my journey. And generally, the owner promised till 2020 to clean up the Pacific garbage patch. It's not cleaned. What they did, they collected 100 tons of plastic waste for 100 million US dollars. But it's not enough because it's less than one factory produced in one day. Carbon emission trading, billions of USD and euro and all the currencies are collected to improve our air, improve our climate. But in fact, since introduction, every year is worse. And the emission volume is growing. Industry 4.0 was created based on the order of German government with billions of euro invested to find out at COVID times and in the times of the war in Ukraine that our industries are fragile more than ever in a history. Carbon capture project in Greenland, 15 million US dollars invested to find out that the machinery catch less carbon than one US citizen produce in 1 week time. H3DA battery, that's a Czech Republic project. Wonder battery, which will not burn and will help everyone. Unfortunately, it was never produced, but collected a lot of money. Elon Musk promised in November 2021 that he will invest 4 billion US dollars to end up world hunger. He never did. Instead of that, he invested 10 times more to buy Twitter. And his first step was to fire 50% of people who are working there, which is happening this week and which will continue. What is the reason for the losses? There are many, and generally, evaluation was made on promises and estimations only. Currently, there is running COP27 in Egypt. It will be full of promises, which will be never kept. Because there is no responsibility, no obligation by the project owner. It is driven by marketing-driven society demand, which has nothing to do with the reality, because it's just a tool of marketing to sell more. Tax deduction is a very interesting topic for all the sustainable projects, because you save money even without delivering any results. Many of the projects, including the Ocean Cleanup Project, has been backed up by global bodies, including United Nations, European Commission, King and Queens. But unfortunately, people did understand that if backed up by these global bodies, it will work. But it does not, because the global bodies does not guarantee it will be delivered. Government-led investment are increasing, and the politicians invest more and more because they don't invest their own money. They invest citizens' money. And that's something which is very different. And there is no binding for the results delivery. You get paid, you don't have to deliver. And you get paid again because you are in the system. What is the current reality? At the beginning, it was said that I was born on December 24th, 1971. At that time, our planet was called blue marble. But in 2019, the planet was not blue anymore. It was covered with environmental damage on such a size that even from the space, it looks more gray than blue. But then in 2020, something very strange happened. Nobody expected it. The blue face of the planet show up again. And in some destination, the blue sky without smoke show up again for the first time in a life of the people there. But it was not because the humans changed their behavior intentionally, but because a COVID, a virus, locked us down. We are living on a planet around which we have been able within few decades time to create a global landfill with 170 million pieces of space debris. These pieces are smaller than 10 to 30 centimeters. There are another 750,000 of 10 to 30 centimeters and 80,000 above 30 centimeters. These are not my own numbers. These numbers are presented so as this image by NASA, US Space Agency. And what we do to the planet? We dig inside hunting for more, because more become the only criteria of success. Ask Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Mike Bloomberg. Ask everyone who is in the Fortune 500 how they get to the ladder, how they get to the list. More money, more people, more companies, more houses, more cars, more. Nothing else is important. We are living on a planet together with 7.986 billion people already. There are 14 millions missing to reach, for the first time in human history, 8 billion. Not knowing that 200 years ago, it was only 1 billion. And 100 years ago, in 1912, it was only 1.5, which means within the last 100 years, we have fivefold the human population on a planet, despite 2 world wars, 2 world pandemics, and more than 650 local war conflicts, resulting with more than 1 million deaths. And in 2050, there should be 11 billion people living on the same planet. And just now, remember, please, the last image I showed you. We are living here in 206 countries, according to UN 193. We are speaking 7,000 languages. We are riding 1 billion cars, and we are letting 9 million people die hungry every single year, despite the fact that every single day, more than 23 million metric tons of food and crop is being wasted. We let 800,000 people die thirsty every single year, despite the fact that only California crude oil industry consume every single day more than 347 million liters of drinking water to produce oil-related products. We plant our food to throw it away because the leaves are not green enough for the buyer in a chain store. We put our overproduction in the rivers on a landfills not to spoil the market price. We carry our water in firefighting tanks, not knowing that the same amount of water is needed to produce just one and simple hamburger. And we do it on a planet where 1 sip of water can save not 1, but 2 lives. We work in factories which has walls filled with environmental certificates, and behind the walls, the same factory create a landfill. They store their packaging, obsolete packaging, on a parking lots for the employees, waiting till it becomes waste. We waste products which are not perfect for 1, but can serve 100 and sometimes 1,000 of others. But we throw them on a garbage. We listen to the words of World Bank, which says that till 2050, the waste volume should increase. In some destination, should double. Despite the fact that almost everything can be reused and or repurposed. This is from the same report. And from the same report came the last chart, which indicated only 13.5% of all the material is being repurposed or recovered. This is what makes the waste industry the 3rd most profitable industry in the world, skipping over drugs and slavery. So at the moment, there are only 2 more profitable industries. One is the war industry, and the second is the crude oil industry. What are the global perspectives with Industry 5.0? The systematic waste prevention must become the standard of all national legislation, so as of the international legislation. The waste legislation has to be reviewed to encourage waste reduction, not waste management, which is the case today. The local food, water, people, and the resources must be preferred and supported. And dependence on loans or financial support of external parties should be decreased, because if so, the allocation of the internal financial resources will become more transparent and efficient, and national debts will turn to national surplus, which will be used to support the people and the population to grow up strong nations, which can help others as well. We must go from wasteful to wasteless. The education system must grow humans, not components of the system of Amazon warehouse. The main tools are creativity, openness, efficient communication, and we don't have to waste our time by asking 5 times why, when we can spend the time and asking for the right question. It is good to be different. It's not a shame. And everyone can change the world, not with the words, but with the work of his or her hands. And we have to be proud on one and only title, human. Because humans' connections create the strongest of all social networks which do exist. We made in the past one big failure. We built our future on the top of a pyramids under which today and this week is running COP27. By not understanding that the pyramids has not been built for the living ones to live in, but to store the corpses inside. I realized that in 2010, and I realized that the future cannot be built on the top of a pyramid. So I create a new groundstone, a groundstone which is much more stable, even if the ground will shake. And how does it work? It's not easy. Because firstly, you have to recognize that something must not become waste. And it's really hard if you waste the item before. But the second is even harder because you have to reconsider what you will do with the item which you just saved. But the third, I love most. You will fail probably for the first, second, third time, but when you succeed, you will start to change the world. And you will never get back from that. I was asked in the 9 years of existence of my work, I was asked many times, Mr. Rada, is there any value of waste prevention? We spent 5 years, and in 2019, we introduced the first number, 475 billion US dollars. Was the value in 2019 of systematic waste prevention on a global scale, not counting with the war industry, crude oil industry, and waste industry, which did not provide us any data. But unfortunately, we are in 2022, and the number is no more valid. The reason is that it become higher. It's the first industry in the world which is worth $1 quadrillion US. And the reason is the war in Ukraine, because not a single bullet shot will be reused, and not a single life lost can be recovered. We can use different things to change the world. For example, a rope. How we will use a rope to change the direction of the planet. We can do it by putting it in a circle, calling it circular economy. We can put the people around and tell them to pull or push. They will do, but the planet will remain on the same place because the only thing which will happen, that the circle will turn, nothing else. Or we can call for 17 SDG goals, and we can use the rope, untie it in a small threads, and put the people to each of the end of the small thread, and tell them push. Or what will happen? Probably many of the small threads will break, because if we do not put the right instruction and if we do not work in a harmony, the result will not be delivered, especially if there are 183 sub-goals to the 17 goals. Or you can take the rope as it is. You tied it to the place which you would like to move, and you start with the right instruction in the right time, in the right direction to pull the rope, and that will change the direction. I have spent 8 years to write a document which you will see on your screen. It is the first in a history where a waste prevention policy and legislation was needed, because we are living in a waste age. Nobody did this before. How does it work? Nothing that can be used or utilized again must become waste. Everything must be considered primary as a pre-waste existing resource and remain in the system. The secondary use or utilization is not limited to the primary function of a product or material and can be utilized by everyone respecting the rules and regulations. Collecting, sorting, bulling, and trade are not being considered anymore secondary utilization. And if not utilized on a primary location, it must be offered to someone else before being wasted. And please understand one, there is no waste if we do not waste. And trust me or not, you can check it online. Not a single legislation in the world, not a single one, contains definition how waste is being created. This is a process called wasting. So it must be part of this legislation, because wasting is a process in which product or material of any kind and volume become waste. In fact, wasting is a system failure and must be prevented first without any limitation and legal restriction. And there is one very significant point. Wasting is not a feature of a product or material, but the result of human behavior. And single use is one of the most common forms of wasting. This legislation was sent to governments of the world on September 1st, 2021, and first start to work on it already. There is a need of verification, but verification which will be really workable. The third party which will verify things and results must be independent, which you can find easily from the core business. Objective reviews must be done by those who don't know the answer before. And unfortunately, this has not happened. Not the proof of concept, but the result which was already delivered should serve as a proof. And full responsibility for delivery must be assigned to the fund receiver. Partnership instead of investment is needed, and transparency instead of non-disclosure agreements. And only palpable results that can be touched should be considered as a tools and worth funding. I have a request for all of you. Please, do not ask sustainability before you become sustainable first. Reduce financing of publications and invest in doers instead. Do not measure what you cannot measure. If you stick your hand outside of the window, you will not recognize 1.5 degree. But if you look at your garbage bin, which is full or empty, everyone will recognize the result. Eliminate fear from your life and from the society standards. It should not be there because it's one of the wastes. Don't ask people to run. Let them walk, because so they will deliver results which are needed. And what is very important, please, before you start changing anything, take picture before. Because if you don't, you will forget what was there before and you will return to the stage very fast. But if you can look at it, you will remember. And value humans, not machines or technology. And don't waste time in favor of personal profit. Because if you do not have place to enjoy the profit, if there is no planet and instead of that is a landfill, I can guarantee to you, no matter how much money you will have, you will not buy a single second of a life. Industry 5.0 is the first industrial evolution ever led by man, by human. It's new mindset of people and businesses from wasteful to wasteless. It delivered the results without the need of capital investment. It's based on the principles of systematic waste prevention. And it utilized the rich on-the-ground mines, which we have. It's based on transparency, profit sharing, and efficiency, three terms which are not present in current industrial environment and business environment. And please understand one very important thing. Industry 5.0 is not a sales tool or a buzzword. It's new global ecosystem, which is already here. And because it is evolution, it cannot be stopped anymore. What you see is the life of being which has been digitalized. Your education has been digitalized for 2 years already. The work has been digitalized, and our leisure times has been digitalized as well. So it looks like that only human needs to be digitalized. But if so, data don't need any light. And I decided not to want to live on a bottom of a black hole. And I decided to build another world, wasteless world, blue marble. And on January 1st started the first global recovery project. It's called 17, because COVID needs 17 months to put everything down. And I think 17 months are needed to recover the planet, economy, society, and industries. If we work together, and don't worry, I'm not alone. My name is Mike Rada. I am human. And as I said, I am not alone. In 111 countries are already open the gates to wasteless world, represented by Industry 5.0 ambassadors, supported by Industry 5.0 heroes. We are reaching 90% of global population already. We have the power to change the world. It will not be done by money, funding, investments, politicians. No. The only person responsible for your future, you can see in the mirror, because there is no one else. So that was the presentation to share. That was the introduction to Industry 5.0. And I hope you will have questions, and I will be happy to answer them.
Okay. Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Thank you for this wonderful piece. So I have just one question.
Okay.
And, my question is, this has constantly be like the major issue with maybe starting up or investing in businesses, which has to do with government policies. So from maybe your own experience, or maybe from your perspective, what do you think would be the best approach to ensure that whatever business you want to go into, whatever investment you want to make, actually won't be a problem, right, for government policies, because those are things that affect a lot of businesses. What would you advise?
The advice is, of course, don't do anything which is illegal. That's one thing. And if you take the example of Industry 5.0, what I do, I prevent waste happen. And nobody can stop me, because preventing waste happen here. And it's not illegal. It's not against law in any country, and everybody can do it. And what is important, don't think that the governments will support you if you would like to deliver the change. The role model, or to say the core business of politicians, is not to deliver the change, but it's to do politics. And this is something very different. So my advice to you, investigate, because you have the resources to investigate online. You can do it free using Google and many others. Be sure that your business has a palpable results, because if you can touch the results, like I can show you something. This was waste before, made from Tetra Pak packaging, single-use packaging, and right now it's construction material. This here, you see, is quite big. You will hardly guess what it was made from. They used the bags from potato chips. 400 years old methodology called origami, and made in disabled workshop. So with people with disabilities. And if you give it to someone, if you sell it to someone, and this someone feel it, and you give the story, we call it power of touch. This is one of the most and strongest tools in Industry 5.0. Trust me, the people will not ask you for price. The people will ask you how to support you. So deliver palpable results before you ask anyone for money or for support. That's my advice. I hope I explain it well, Kenneth.
Yeah, perfectly. That's fine. Thanks very much. Yeah.
Thank you. Any more questions?
So I have a question.
Yes.
So yeah, first of all, thank you very much for such an enlightening presentation. So I'd like to know that this going towards the wasteless phenomena. Is this something that should be completely conscious driven, or we need to attend some events or workshops to stay motivated?
You don't need, because right now you will leave with your mind changed. I'm sure about it. I delivered keynotes to more than 250 universities and many other events. So I know in your mind will stay this information. And you will see the world with different eyes. What I would like to suggest is, if you are not sure about some of the topics, because I have spoken about 5 types of waste: physical, social, urban, process, and wasting of time. In some of them, it can be difficult for you to understand where is the waste, what is the waste. For example, urban waste, they are empty buildings, factories, malls, which are empty. And in the same city, there are people without the roofs above their heads, homeless people. Why don't we use these places to help the people? And in some locations already this is happening. And you can have similar, but start by yourself. For example, there is one great part to start. Take a single-use plastic bottle. Here is one. And answer me the question, why is it single-use? Does it mean if I empty it by drinking it, that it will be whole inside? No. Does it mean that I cannot fill it with water again? No. It has nothing to do with it. The single use was just put in our head that we throw it away, but it's not needed. I am testing here single-use plastic bottles for 3 years, filling it with water for my flowers. And the flowers are blooming here. There is nothing wrong with it. So we have to change the mindset. You don't need more webinars. Of course, if you would like to, they are available, but you don't need to. Just start to prevent waste happen yourself, and you will see how the people around you will see you as a role model. And this is the important part. I will never ask you to do anything what I did not try myself. What you see here behind me, they are the real vinyl records, sourced in a biggest vinyl producer in the world, which is generally 75 kilometers from here, and the second factory is in Austin, US. Just now imagine, every single day this company throw away in a garbage up to 10,000 pieces of finished vinyl records, because the quality control check the sound. And if the sound is not well, record get wasted. The black ones can be so-called regranulated. You crash them and you use the material for another production. But they are, you see this one at the top, this is colored one, limited editions. And they cannot do it. They cannot do the same with the limited editions. So what we did, we took a photograph and we cut it by hand. It's 3 to 6 hour work to cut this by hand. This is the first Czech president. And this is my biggest teacher, my granddad, which was almost 100 years old when he passed away 14 days ago. And I can tell you, if you give someone such a present, he or she will never get anything same emotional like this present, because it's made by human for human, and this is part of the memories. So my advice to you, you don't need another workshops. You need to turn to a role model. And please understand, sticking someone to the street or to the image or to the painting is not a role model. You may be on a Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, but for what? For creating more waste. And that's not right. Even if you go, and I know the intention is good, every Friday to strike. I informed Greta in 2019 then that strike for strike generate only strike. And 3 years later, there is only strike. Another questions?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
You are welcome.
I think a similar thing that is happening in Sweden. Now, the Uppsala community, they've decided to give us bags, and those bags are for different waste. So Uppsala community in Sweden is one of the only one that generates, we use the waste, the food waste, because there's so much to produce the biofuel that runs the buses. That was what during the COVID, the buses were practically free. During the COVID time, throughout, nobody would just enter the bus and go. Why? Because it costs nothing. So we were the ones supplying those the waste, every houses, and then we put them pack up and then we move. So the culture of waste, if I compare it with what happens in Nigeria, where you have a whole lot of waste that should have been, apart from what happened in terms of the gas also, because I'm from the Niger Delta, where it's just being wasted and creating a whole lot of problem. We took most of the oil big companies, we took them to court because it created a whole lot of problem. That's why when I teach my students, I said, Industry 5.0 is bringing humanity into what we do, so that you reason before you do. Whether it's artificial intelligence or whether it is anything you are developing, reason, bring humanity to it and see whether it's possible. It's not human decision, especially in saving lives and making sure that we are doing the right thing, that eventually we have to provide life. So there's a whole lot to talk about in terms of humanity. But thank you very much for this introduction. We are quite happy. I don't know any other person has if there's no other question, let me present something to him for coming to this program. Okay.
Okay. When you are talking, I was listening, and it was really awesome. Okay. You talked about time wasting, and you also talked about fear being a waste. So I want you to talk actually on the time wasting and fear being a waste, using your experience, so that if we the young generation are trying to take actions or try to emulate your actions, we would know or learn that okay, these are the kind of things you encountered and how we are going to tackle it.
Generally, the wasting of time, it's a very special waste. We consider it from the very beginning, of course, but putting it as a separate waste category really in September 2022, so it's very fresh, was very important because many people reflect to that. Many people do understand that spending 8 hours in a workplace, knowing that the work can be done in 4 hours, especially after COVID, knowing that they can do the work not from the office but from the home and much more efficient, the people start to understand the wasting. And it has, the time waste has one special, really special thing, which no other waste has. If you waste a single second, you will never get it back. Never, ever. And this is why it's so curious, because, you know, we are given the waste at the moment of our birth. We are giving the time, not the waste, the time at the moment of our birth. It ended someday. And it is the most valuable asset which we are giving to our life. And at the same time is the most wasted one. Speaking about the fear, you know, we have a big discussion within the ambassadors whether fear should be rated as a waste only. But in fact, there are some good things about fear. If you, for example, burn your fingers and you will have a fear from the fire, you will not burn the fingers again. It's like part of the education. But if you run your company and employees based on the fear, you will be the first one who lose them. As I mentioned during the presentation, Elon Musk started his Twitter career by firing 2 management board members. And right now he is firing 50% of the employees, probably. Nobody knows exactly. And my advice to Twitter, all employees should leave. They will find jobs. But Elon will not be able to run a Twitter with 1 person only. Because in a factory, there is more important a worker on a production line than a general manager, because if a general manager will be ill, nobody will know. If one line leader will be ill for a few hours, the factory can stop. You know, we are setting wrong understanding of the roles. Generally, Industry 5.0 is so efficient because we break the silos between industries. We broke the silos between roles and levels. We don't use any titles. None. The only title is human. I don't see genders. I don't see age. I don't see education level. No, I see human. And I can tell you, when I, for the first time, stay on a stage, there was about 1,000 people in front of me, many of them knowing me from the logistic business. You know, I'm a logistician. I even educate logistics on an academy, specializing in global supply chain, sustainability, and innovations. And I stand there in front of those people and I said, good morning. My name is Mike Rada. I am human. Even now, I have a goosebumps on my skin. And the response from the audience was complete silence. And this is every time when I deliver a keynote speech. And this is why I started with the words that I am human. You know, and this is not to fear. Try it. Try really introduce you as a human. What is crazy, the computer is asking you, are you human? And you have to tick the window. I am very proud to tick it because I am one.
Lovely.
Thank you very much. You did justice to what I just wanted. Okay. It has been a wonderful presentation so far. You know, so many people have been dropping comments talking of how mind blowing it is and how happy they are to have attended this presentation. Okay. We have an award for you, but I would like to welcome Dr. Celestine Iwendi to do the presentation himself. So, sir, can you take on?
Okay. All right. So thank you very much for coming. I don't know if you can see this.
Yes, I can.
Okay, we are giving you for coming to our November to Remember. You see, we're giving you this award representing head of school here. You know, they have given us introduction to Industry 5.0, which is lovely. And I know that if we allow you, there's so much thing to say, so much thing to do. So I'll send this to you, about just saying an appreciation for coming for this program. We really appreciate you. Thank you very much. I think, yes, thank you very much for coming again.
Thank you very much. I will be really happy to present it, and I like the event which you organized. And if anybody is interested to learn more or get connected, I just put in a chat my LinkedIn profile, please.
Yes.
Don't just follow, send me the LinkedIn invite. I cannot send it to you because I'm run out of my weekly profile quota, usually the first or second day, because there are too many people. I would be really happy to work with every single one. I am reading right now the chat, and I am really proud that you like the presentation. And if you will agree before we finish, if you have questions, please ask. But if you agree, I would like to do one thing which I do every time on my keynote on the universities or with my partners. I end the event with a screenshot of all of you switching the cameras, who can and who cannot. And we finish it with this sign. And just now, please let me explain what does it mean. The finger up does not mean Mike Rada is number one or you are number one. No, sorry. It means something much more deeper. It means we follow one aim. And this aim is to build wasteless world for all. So if you agree with this aim and you would put your thumb up, we can make the screenshot to see the unity of people who participated on this event.
Most of the students, they are actually in the lecture rooms. So some of them may not be able to open up the screen, but then
they can make it in an electronic form. The thumb up, I think, is one of the icon as well. Okay. You can do it this way because it's really, it is about it's not the United Nations who will deliver the change. It will be the united humans who will. So I am really happy that I see so many thumbs up. For those who are on camera, please smile. 3, 2, 1, I take the image. And let me check whether it's safe or not, because sometimes my computer plays crazy. And it is there. And I would like to take the opportunity and just to say, you see here one person which helps me a lot in my work. He is Industry 5.0 ambassador. If you see there a man called Swain Gauteblewik.
Okay, yes.
He has the headphones on. And he is one of the most active ambassadors. He's the ambassador in Norway.
Okay.
And so you see, we are helping each other, even within the network. And as I said, if you have any question, feel free to ask. I have time for you, or connect with me. Your request will be accepted.
Yes. No, they already have your emails. I mean, they have your LinkedIn, so they will get connected so that we can move up to every other thing after. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for coming again. You know, and we appreciate.
Thank you. And let me wish all of you have a nice time, free of waste and wasting in all its forms.
Yes.
Stay safe and free,
Okay.
because this is important for everyone.